When I start handling any horse on the ground, one of the first things I do is establish my bubble. For the horse I don't trust or that seems to be pushy or is new, my bubble is pretty big. As they gain my trust and I gain their respect, my bubble size gets a little bit more flexible. Here I am putting up the hand closest to the horse to act as a barrier. I keep it raised slightly above my head to help protect my space. I also keep it fairly even with the horse's eye. I will hold it in this position and walk toward the horse until the horse takes steps away from me with their front feet. Ideally, I'm looking for the horse to cross the foot closest to me in front of the other foot. For now, while I'm teaching, I accept that she's done it correctly if the shoulders move away. The moment those shoulders move away from me, I'll bring down my hand and go into passive body position. I would repeat this exercise until they are pretty consistent at moving the shoulder away from you. They may not have the perfect movement, but they have the concept. The next thing I want to work on is asking the hip to move away from me. I teach this by what I call stop, look, and listen. The first thing I want to do is put my hand up by the horse's face to stop the motion toward me. You can think of this as like putting a stop sign up in front of him. The next thing I do is look at the part of the body I want to move. In this case, it is the hips. The next thing I do is get the horse to listen. I want the horse to start moving away from my body as I move toward them. I can do this by clicking, swinging my rope, or using a whip or flag. This mare is pretty reactive, so all I really need to do is click and add a little action from my rope. The moment that the horse moves their hip away from me and keeps their front feet fairly stationary, I release and go back to passive body position. I'm going to work this exercise until the horse seems pretty consistent in responding correctly each time I ask. Again, the first time I teach this, I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking them to understand the concept. Each time I work this exercise, I can be more particular in what I accept as a correct movement of their feet. Basically, the goal in these two exercises is to establish that the horse is to move away from pressure. Now that I've worked this exercise a little bit longer, the mare has calmed down quite a bit and is now needing just a little bit more encouragement from me to move her hip. You can also see that as my body returns to passive body language, so does hers. I'm going to continue to work this exercise a few more times so that it is solidified in her brain before I move on to the next piece. I'm now going to put these two exercises together by adding one new skill, the point and go. The first step here is point. I raise my hand closest to the horse's nose in the direction I want her to move. Note, I am not pointing behind me. By pointing behind me, I am literally asking the horse to cross over top of me to get to where I'm pointing. I keep my body parallel to her body at all times. The next step is the go. I want to add energy to their feet with either voice command, flag, whip, or just the rope in this case. Once the horse takes even one step, I drop both hands, and I'm returning to passive body position. Ideally, the horse will continue moving in that direction, but if not, I just repeat the point and go. Do not get impatient with repeating this cue. At this stage in training, I'm going to reward every positive try that the horse makes. Also, do not get impatient if the horse doesn't pick up on the cue right away. Hold your position, don't move. Just add more energy with your go. Once your horse has the point and go portion of this exercise down, it's time to ask them to stop. There are a couple different ways to do this. At this stage in our training, we're going to ask them to move the hip away and for her eyes to face me. We're going to use the stop, look, listen again. I'm going to ask her to stop moving by bringing my hand to me. I'm going to look at that hip, and then I'm going to ask her to listen to me by stepping toward that hip. Because the hand that is closest to the nose comes in to me, her nose comes toward me as well. My movement toward her hip causes her hip to push outward. To send her back out, I'm going to switch hands and point in the other direction. And then use the go with my voice or additional rope, whip, or flag following. Notice my feet don't move a whole lot. I could draw a circle around them and they pretty much stay in that circle. Here I'm demonstrating with the flag how I'm constantly parallel to her. My belly button is facing her belly at all times. I keep my feet in their own circle and try not to get ahead of her. When I do, that causes her to stop. Here I demonstrate her reaction if I'm constantly driving at her. Keeping my pressure on her hip is asking her to move that hip away from me. I can't stress enough the importance of keeping your feet still. When you first give that cue, if you start moving your feet, you are effectively just leading them in a circle, rather than asking them to make a circle around you. Occasionally the horse will miscue or not stop. They'll guess and try to go the other way. Here, I just reapply the cue to stop by pushing on the hip.